How's it going, YouTube? This is your boy Absolute, and I'm bringing you another reaction video here on the channel. You saw that we did not post any yesterday. I just did not have time to get a couple videos done. So we're getting some today for you all. This one here is the Marvel Cinematic Universe Wrap-Up by Nerd Out. Now, this came out a while ago. This came out, what was the year of this one? Where are you, stupid date? Am I blind? Am I just blind? Where's the date on this one? Because I know this came out a while ago. Alright, well, the pro comment was 9 months ago. So, I'm assuming 9 months ago. It was a while ago. And, I was like, I'm pretty sure I've heard it. I don't remember, though. It was 9 months ago, so I don't remember anything about it. But it's talking about, it's pretty much they say a wrap-up, and it's sort of play on words. It's because they're rapping to WRAP, wrap up the storyline of and just wrap everything up into one cohesive storyline, one cohesive video. It's a good 10 minutes long, so they're pretty much going to go through all the different movies, all that of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I am a huge Marvel fan. I love the MCU. There was a couple of sort of dud movies, but I still love them. I will still watch them if it's on TV or whatever. I will still watch them all day, every day. Like, no questions asked. So, we're gonna do a couple of these and see how it goes. But I'm looking forward to this one. Nerd Out kills it every single time that they make a new video. Even like this is from 9 months ago, and you'll see that they just freaking killed it in this entire thing. Now, I don't know if it's multiple people rapping for each one, sort of like a cipher, or if this is just one of them or three of them all doing it throughout. But let's go into it. I'm looking forward to it. Let's do it. Checking the audio. Audio seems good.
All the fans around about to get what they deserve. Listen as I run down the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. From Phase 1 to Phase 2 to Phase 3. This is not chronological, it's in order of release. We got Spider-Man.
So that's good. That's in order of release, not chronological. That's good. That's good. Now, someone commented that I got a comment tonight that they did not like it when I paused and then reversed. It said, "Oh, we all find it annoying." You're the first comment, my guy, that actually mentioned anything about it. So, most reactors do this. But so if I do pause a lot and I want to talk about something, I apologize if that annoys you. But just how I feel like it's the best way to get my reactions, I need to pause it, because if I don't pause it and talk about something, y'all aren't going to hear me if y'all have been paying attention to the music and not to me. So, let's go ahead and go.
Not chronological, it's in order of release. We got Spider-Man, Scarlet Witch, Drax the Destroyer. If you haven't seen the films, a final warning for spoilers. We going way back, almost 12 years ago. So without any further ado, here we go. In the very first spot, we got the homie Tony Stark, the only billionaire, playboy philanthropist on the block, kidnapped by terrorists. He ruined their entire plan, turned a box of scraps into a fully suited Iron Man. The guy who set him up was Obadiah Stane, took the reactor out his chest and left Tony to die in pain. But with the help of Pepper Potts and Rhodey, he would soon prevail over the carbon copy Ironmonger, send him straight to hell. Next is the scientist, name is Bruce Banner. He turned into the Hulk because he was fooling with Gamma. He fled to South America, trying to find an antidote. The army tracked him down, couldn't beat the green animal. General Ross was mad, wanted Banner to fear him. He injected Emil Blonsky with the super soldier serum. On the streets of Harlem, Emil raised as the abomination. But Hulk clapped him and pretty much stomped his face in.
Okay. So the one thing people forget was that the Incredible Hulk is actually part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A lot of people forget it because when Edward Norton was the original casted as the Incredible Hulk, as Bruce Banner, and then when the Avengers movie came out, they had a brand new actor come in. They had Mark Ruffalo come in. And this is all common knowledge that people know about nowadays. But I always love the fact that people still forget. Wait, the Incredible Hulk movie was part of the Cinematic Universe? The Incredible Hulk movie, the original Hulk movie that came out a few years prior to this, no, that was not. But this one, so that's why you saw General Ross. General Ross will probably appear again somewhere in the video when they get to Civil War. He was the same actor who played that one. It played the same role going forward. So all the actions that happened inside the Incredible Hulk movie is still canon inside the MCU. It's just the actor who plays Bruce Banner, they decided to change because apparently Edward Norton is an asshole. So.
Ivan Vanko wanted to murder Tony Stark. He built an arc reactor fitted with whips and slashed his car apart. He was arrested. Party time. Tony was loving it. Then Rhodey commandeered his suit and gave it to the government. After that, Tony met the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Justin Hammer made a bunch of drones, but Ivan's at the wheel now. War Machine and Iron Man are fighting off the drones. Tony starts to realize he cannot save the world alone. Thor was about to be king. Yeah, he had the clout, but he was disobedient. So Odin stripped his powers out, banished to Earth. Now he's trying to get his hammer back. Meanwhile, his evil brother Loki had a planned attack, releasing the Destroyer to kill Thor and all his friends. Thor made a sacrifice, proving he's worthy again. With hammer in hand, he wins, retreated to his home. Loki died by suicide, and Odin sat back on the throne. Okay, let's take it back to 1942. Steve Rogers tried to join the army, but he's just a scrawny dude. So they gave him super soldier serum. Now he's a fighter, but Resco's got the Tesseract. The enemy's Helen Hydra tried to bomb the shores of America. Roger stopped and crashed the bomber in the Arctic. He was frozen in the cockpit for 70 years. Nick Fury found him and then he thawed him out. Told him that he wanted to save the world. Yeah, I'm talking about Avengers. Loki isn't dead. He wanted to rule the earth. And the fact that the Avengers fought each other made it worse. Loki stole the Tesseract from S.H.I.E.L.D. to open up a portal that would unleash the aliens against defenseless mortals. Roger Stark, Romanoff, Thor, Banner, and Barton fought the hordes of Loki's army. The Chitauri, it was hard, but Tony threw a missile at the mothership and closed the hole up. Hulk slam Loki, puny guy. That was so nuts.
Alright, so that's phase one. Phase one out of the book. I'm not going to touch too much on the bars. The beat is phenomenal. They did an amazing job with the instrumentals on this, like always. Like it's nerd out. They normally have some of the best instrumentals I've listened to. I will say that they did a phenomenal job with this when it comes to that. Bars, they're literally just recapping the movies. So they're not doing any like crazy like, oh my god, they said that. It's just a recapping the movies. So if I talk about anything here, I'm going to react to sort of how about the different phases. And that was phase one. You had two really dud movies during phase one. Oh, sorry, three. I should say three duds. Incredible Hulk, you had Iron Man 2, and Thor. Those movies were not that good. I'm sorry. Like, I hate to bash on them, but they really just were not good at all. Like, Incredible Hulk was just a hot mess with a really bad actor playing Bruce Banner. You had Iron Man 2, which was just awkward at times with his whole, like, Iron Man 3 made it a little bit more awkward, but I don't know, just something about Iron Man 2 was really awkward. It might have been the villain Wipeout, or Whiplash, whatever his freaking name is. That was an awkward villain. They should have just stuck with Hammer and Hammer Industries and be perfectly fine. And then you had Thor, which honestly it was bland. Didn't feel like there was a whole lot to it. I'd never heard of Chris Hemsworth before that movie, so that was my first iteration of him. And I'll be honest, I wasn't that impressed with him at first. He definitely grew on me as he went through the cinematic universe and then other movies he's done. He's definitely grown on me, but that first movie was not a good impression for me. But I will say, Hail Hydra. That's the one thing that I find funny is that people always hate on Hydra and be like, oh my god, they're a Nazi group. And I'm like, you really don't know Hydra. They're not Nazis. Sure, they were part of the Nazi regime. They're the Nazi science division. But if you pay attention to the history and the lore of Hydra, they were planning on attacking Berlin and attacking Adolf Hitler because they hate the Nazis, just like everybody else. Because they didn't believe what they believed in. Not the whole thing. There's not much really to say. Like I said, the first phase, it definitely got better as the phases went on. But, I mean, you had classics like Iron Man, Captain America, The First Avenger, and you had the Avengers movie. 3 classic movies that you could literally sit down and watch it any day of the week and be totally happy because they're phenomenal movies. RDJ being Iron Man really sparked this entire franchise. And they haven't turned back since, and they probably never will for a long time. So, let's get into phase 2.
Tony Stark is suffering from panic attacks and PTSD. Things are getting messy. Televised Mandarin's very threatening. Feeling himself, Tony gave the world his real address. Helicopters bombed his home and then he almost drowned to death. Ardrich Killian is really the Mandarin. What a plot twist. Kidnapped the president, then took Pepper Potts as a hostage with extremists in his body. Aldrich almost won the day, but Pepper superhuman too blew up a bullet in his face.
I love how they didn't mention the stupidity of the way they handled the Mandarin, the actual Mandarin character. The fact that they had the actor come in and be like, "Oh, I'm the Mandarin. I'm just an actor though," because they wanted to hire me, and that whole entire, because the Mandarin is such a phenomenal character and such a phenomenal villain, and I'm so glad that Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings is bringing the Mandarin in as a proper Mandarin villain. As the Mandarin, like, they're bringing him in proper this time, which makes me really, really happy, because the Mandarin was one of Tony Stark's greatest villains he's ever fought against, and Iron Man 3 completely butchered it. Now, bringing in AIM I thought was really cool, and I hope we get to see AIM again, because AIM brings in MODOK, which would be really cool to see if we can see MODOK at some point. But Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 did a really good job of bringing in the different, like, Hammer Industries and AIM and all these other organizations that sort of battle against the Avengers with what they're trying to do and battle S.H.I.E.L.D. when it comes to weapon rights. And sometimes they're trying to take over the world. Sometimes they're just like, hey, they give out weapons to Hydra, to any terrorist organization, because they're for profit. And we don't get to see them much anymore. After, like, these 1 or 2 movies, we never really get to see them again, which is weird because they're some of the biggest companies in the world. They're literally were almost as big as Stark Industries, and we never get to see them again. That was a little weird by the MCU's decision on that. But Iron Man 3, besides the debacle that was the Mandarin, it was a fine movie. It was much better than Iron Man 2. I think it was a good way to end Iron Man 3, and the fact that Iron Man lasted all the way until the end of Phase 3 with the 4th Avengers movie says a lot. Because they easily could have just been like, alright, Iron Man's done now, which would have been stupid. But I wish they made a 4th one, because it would have been really cool to see a 4th one, but it is what it is.
A bullet in his face. Jane Foster fell in a portal infected by the ether. Malekith, the dark elf, woke up and tried to reach her. Thor took her back to Asgard and tried to remove the substance, but Malekith killed his mother. Thor wanted justice, vowing revenge. She got his brother Loki's assistance. On Earth, worlds were aligning. Things are getting intense with a little scientific equipment and hocus pocus. They opened the portal and killed Malekith with his own ship.
I will say something about Thor 2. I don't hate it as other people do. Some people say it's worse than Thor 1. It was one of the worst movies in the MCU. I don't hate it. What I hate about it, I don't hate the entire movie. There's just one small little part that I don't like, that really despises me about it, is the way that they sort of just butcher the Malekith and the Dark Elves. Because you had Christopher Eccleston, who is, for Doctor Who fans, Whovians, know him as the Ninth Doctor, come in to play a villain inside the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you sort of did him dirty in that. Like, he wasn't a great villain. You didn't write him right. Outside of that, the movie was fine. Like, it wasn't awful, but it wasn't great either. It was a decent movie. It was definitely on the lower tier, but it wasn't the greatest movie of all time. But we're about to get to what people... So what's great about it is you had Thor 2, which was, some people say is the worst one, and it transitions right into what people say is probably the greatest MCU movie in Captain America: Winter Soldier.
They opened the portal and killed Malekith with his own ship. Rogers and Romanoff were out working for S.H.I.E.L.D. on a mission to retrieve encrypted data from the field, so the furious helicarriers are now ready to fire. That's when Cap discovered that S.H.I.E.L.D. was overrun by Hydra. Wilson joined the team. Winter Soldier tried to kill him. Rogers couldn't understand his friend was now a villain. Helicarriers overridden, so Hydra couldn't pull the trigger. Steve refused to fight his friend, so they all crashed into the river. Peter Quill is up in space.
Yes.
Recruiting Rocket, get arrested, and along with Drax, they managed to escape. Try to sell a magic orb.
Love this movie.
They know the thing that they would try to sell was an Infinity Stone. Ronan stole it.
So what's great about this movie is it was the first actual talk of the Infinity Stones, because the other movies we never really talked about them. Like, the ether, and as long as I haven't seen Iron Man, I haven't seen Thor 2 in a while when I actually talked about the ether, if they actually mentioned it was Infinity Stone or the Reality Stone. I don't believe they mentioned it, but the fact that you had the Tesseract and the ether, who turned out to be Infinity Stones, you never mentioned it. And you never find out until Guardians of the Galaxy when you first mention the Power Stone, and you start looking back and be like, wait a second, that's an Infinity Stone. That means those other two had to be Infinity Stones, right? And it really started putting the pieces together to what we were building towards, which me personally, I love the fact that we got to see Thanos already. But what I would have loved to have seen if we waited until like what would have been like phase 4, 5, and 6 at the end of the 6th one if we did Thanos. Mainly for the fact that would have just built up more characters, we would have had a bigger army to fight, and I felt like it would have meant a lot more. But I mean, that's just me. I mean, I'm a little butthurt we got Thanos so early, but I mean, I'm perfectly fine if we waited till phase 6 and then because then at least would have felt more impactful. But that's just me.
Used to fight his friends, so they all crashed into the river. Peter Quill is up in space, plus Gamora, Groot, and Rocket get arrested, and along with Drax, they managed to escape. Try to sell a magic orb, but little did they know the thing that they would try to sell was an Infinity Stone. Ronan stole it so he could kill every person on Xandar. The team beat him after distracting them with the dance-off. Groot sacrificed himself, yeah, that was a tragedy, but now the friends are known as the Guardians of the Galaxy. The Avengers fighting Hydra on the battlefield and unintentionally made a murder robot battle kill. Ultron was born. He recruited the Maximoffs, but then they switched sides because Ultron was going to blast them all. Tony used the Mind Stone on Jarvis, calling Vision and Sokovia that battled a lot of robotic henchmen. All the citizens escape. Pietro died protecting Barton. Ultron is destroyed, but that's when Thanos goes and grabs his gauntlets.
Okay. See, this is where it was this movie where I realized what they were doing with their villains. And what was starting to really piss me off about the MCU. If you noticed, besides Loki up to this point, they've pretty much murdered every single one of their villains so far. So they can't come back. And they've done it even past this movie. All the way until the freaking finale of Avengers Endgame. They literally murder all their villains. So it was impossible for them to make a comeback. So you had the Ironmonger got killed. You had Whiplash or whatever his name is got killed. You had the Malekith got killed. You had Red Skull got killed. Ultron got killed, which is one of the biggest things that really pissed me off because I love Ultron and I felt like he could have been the big villain for the end of phase 3, like sort of taking Thanos' spot. And then that would have made much more sense of what they were trying to do with the whole, like, spoilers of killing Tony Stark in the end. Was because in the comics there was a point where they actually had Ultron win and take over the Earth, and he killed Captain Rogers, Black Widow, Ant-Man, the Wasp. You killed Iron Man. But you didn't kill Iron Man. Iron Man and Hulk were the only ones that really survived. So they killed off a lot of like the main villains. But they had kids. And that was what introduced the new Avengers. But you easily didn't have to have kids. But that's the best way that you could transfer the power over to people like Falcon and Scarlet Witch coming in to taking over, and like some of the younger Avengers who would be taking over as the main lead Avengers going forward. That's how you easily could have done it, by Ultron when it eliminated them, and then you had the new Avengers come in and sort of be the ones that have to take him down in the final movie. That would have been really, really cool. And then you could have had Ultron be destroyed. Because I mean he's artificial intelligence. You can't really destroy him. So that's the one thing that I hope that they not really rectify, but the fact that Ultron is an artificial intelligence, that he could somehow survive. They somehow got onto the internet and is like slowly building himself back up to make a comeback. So we see him in another like Avenger style movie would be really, really nice. Will they ever do it? Probably not. But like they're gonna show you villains throughout here for the remainder 6 minutes that we have, 5 to 6 minutes of this video, where I'll be like, Villain died. Villain died. Villain died. So it's impossible for them to ever make a comeback for a sequel movie, which really pisses me off because they don't kill him off in the comics. They make comebacks and they fight multiple times. And I understand there's other villains you can incorporate, but some of these villains that they're killing off are some of the biggest villains in these superheroes' rogues gallery, and we're never gonna see him again. Granted, we have the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which could rectify all that. They could bring back a lot of villains who've been killed off by alternate realities and all that. So that is a possibility. But let's get into Ant-Man, because this Ant-Man, I'm glad they went with the Scott Long, because I was hoping they were going to go with Hank Pym, but the way they did with Scott Long, I thought was 10 times better. So Scott Long is great.
Ultron is destroyed, but that's when Thanos goes and grabs his gauntlet. Scott Lang just got out of prison, times it's real tough. Hank Pym tested him to see if he could steal stuff. Gave him the Ant-Man suit, shrunk him down to size. Hank started Hope, trained him up and taught him how to fight a guy in Yellow Jacket. He wanted to sell the secrets of the fake particle to Hydra, but he gets defeated when Scott goes subatomic. Barely made it out the quantum realm. Hope becomes the Wasp. These bad guys would not prevent.
Yellow Jacket, dead. That was funny. That was a funny scene. That was great. I will say with the Ant-Man movie, they did a phenomenal job with the effects of this movie. With like when they're shrinking down the size and all that type of stuff, and having different ways of providing a battlefield for them to fight on. Like for them, when they were able to shrink down, it shows like, oh, they're fighting on this massive like field, and like that train coming to roll at them. I thought that was like really cool cinematic effects, and it turned out just a little kid's bedroom. I thought that was so clever. I was not expecting that at all. I thought they did a really good job with that. But I believe this is the end of Phase 2. We're about to go into Phase 3 now. They didn't always end the phases with an Avengers movie.
Bucky was impersonated to make it look like he killed the
Civil
king of
War.
Wakanda. T'Challa wanted revenge. That's not the only problem. The UN tried to make them all sign some accords. Two opposing views that started a civil war. Spidey showed up to prove that he's a hero. Most of the conflict was caused by Baron Zemo. Steve stopped Tony from blowing Bucky to bits. You can say at this point the Avengers don't exist.
I will say, another comic book series, like Saga, the Civil War, I would have loved it if they waited a little bit longer to do it. Mainly for the fact is, the Civil War was such a big deal, and you had so many people. It was a massive, like, 2 armies fighting it out. It would have been really cool to see a much bigger groups fighting it out on here. Now, granted, you put the warrior out there. It's like, oh, not everyone's going to get screen time. We saw that with Endgame. Everyone got some sort of screen time, which is good. Like, Infinity War and Endgame gave plenty of people screen time. They easily could have done it. But I'll say this is one of the movies where they didn't kill off the villain. I mean, and they said this is massive spoilers for everybody, but they don't kill off Baron Zemo in this movie, which makes me happy, because now he's going to be one of the villains in Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show, which I think is great. But it just proves my point. They did kill all the villain off so they can use him in another project, which I think is really, really good, because we need more villains. If you just kill off all the villains, you're going to run out of people to have them fight. Sorry about it.
Stephen Strange used to be the world's best surgeon until he broke his hands. That's when he started searching. The ancient one, immortal, would train him in Kamartaj. In his studies, he would find out that magic can be dark. Caecilius released Dormammu from the dark dimension with the eye of Agamotto. He's beaten into submission with repetition. The earth is safe and everybody thanked him. Now he's the master of the New York City sanctum.
We just see the time stone now, which is the first time we get to see the time stone, which is really, really cool. And this one's a little bit of a weird way to handle the villain, because the dude he was fighting got sent to the Dark Realm, where Dormammu resides. Neither one of them is technically dead. They're just stuck in the dark dimension, so they easily can make a comeback. They're just not on Earth, which works. It works out really, really well for that. Will we ever see Dormammu? I mean, we could see him in the Multiverse of Madness. We could see Dormammu in that. But outside of that, will we ever see Dormammu again? Probably not, because he's a tough villain to do, but anything's possible.
Guardians always on the run from different factions. The Sovereign and the Ravagers want a piece of the action. Quill finds out that he's the son of a Celestial. Mantis helps out, she knows Ego is unethical. With the help of Nebula, Kraglin, and Yondu, Baby Groot bombed the brain. Ego was fondue. Yondu, St. Peter, sacrificed himself. Ravagers far and wide came along to pay respects.
I will say, again, they kill off the villain. Why? I understand it's ego, celestial planet. You sort of have to probably kill him off just so that he doesn't take over the world, but take over the universe. You could find ways. You could find ways to stop him. I'm sure. I mean, ego doesn't die in the comics, as far as I know. Can't remember. He might have died in the comics. I don't know. But another villain that we'll never get to see again because you killed him off. But I will say I'm excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, they didn't mention it in the song here, but we did get to see our boy Adam Warlock possibly making a comeback. Well, making an entrance. I'm really excited for that. I really want Adam Warlock to be here because he was one of the people who made a big impact in Infinity War in the comics. So it sucks didn't have him in for that. So I'm looking forward to see how they incorporate him in the future. And we might get to see him in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Hopefully. But next up we got my boy, Spider-Man. Which was really, really cool that they were able to incorporate Spider-Man more and give him a solo movie that was half Disney, half Sony. Because we never had that before. That's like we saw him appear in Civil War, but the fact that he got his own solo movie was really, really good. And we didn't get an origin story. It was literally he already had his powers up when they showed up in Civil War, and then Homecoming is after that. So we actually get to see him just go through life and not have to worry about getting the whole great power comes great responsibility, and Uncle Ben dies, and we don't have to go through all that. We're good. And I'm looking forward to see, again, they don't kill off the villain in that one. So we'll get to see him again. We've already been confirmed we get to see him again in the Morpheus movie. But I'm looking forward to see what we can do with this one.
Came along to pay respects. Next up is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Every now and then he had to go and check with Iron Man. Peter Parker's 15 fighting the higher tunes of a flying thief, the Vulture, Adrian Toomes. Peter was dating his daughter. That was awkward. The two started fighting on the beach of Coney Island. Peter won, Stark and Happy invite him to the Avengers. But in the end, he knows he's not ready to be a member. Odin died. Hela's colder than an icebox. Crushed Thor's hammer, then she knocked him off the Bifrost. Stranded on Sakaar, Thor is taken by a Valkyrie and forced to fight the Hulk. That was almost a casualty. Him and all his friends flew inside the Devil's Anus and they made it back to Asgard. Hela's murders were heinous. They tried to fight but realized they couldn't manage. Only way to kill his sister was to Ragnarok the planet.
I will say, Thor 3 Ragnarok was the best Thor movie. Like, everyone can agree. That was literally the best Thor movie. Nothing beats it. Like, it was better than the others. Now, Thor Love and Thunder might beat Ragnarok. Same director, and we're bringing back Jane Foster, and all that fun jazz. And the mantle of Thor is being passed off so that we're getting female Thor moving forward over having Chris Hemsworth. So, because pretty much all the main Avengers from the first movie are peacing out. Steve Rogers is done. Iron Man is clearly done. Barton is supposed to have his own TV series where he's passing the mantle of Hawkeye off. Romanoff is gone. The only one that still we don't 100% know is going to be around out is the Hulk. But we already have a brand new lot of Avengers. And rest in peace, Chadwick. King of Wakanda, we're going to be missed. One of the greatest actors in the MCU. This one's going to hurt.
Ragnarok the planet, the Black Panther, leader of Wakanda. T'Challa's got to deal with all the secrets of his father. Killmonger was abandoned on his own, but he defeated T'Challa. Now he's standing on the throne. He wanted to use the vibranium strictly as a weapon. That's when T'Challa stepped in, gave him his final lesson. With Shuri and M'Baku, it's a new administration. He knows that he should share his technology with the nations.
I will say, I go back to talking, I'm going to mention it again because they do it multiple times. I love the Black Panther movie. One of the best villains in the entire MCU was Killmonger. I thought he was the most dimensional villain out of all of them. And you kill him off. You kill off Claw. Why? Two of Black Panther's biggest villains. And you just kill him off. And we've already been confirmed that we're getting a Black Panther 2, which I don't know if they're passing the powers on to Shuri or what exactly is going on with that, since unfortunately Chadwick Boseman passed away. But I don't know if they're going to try to. I hope they don't recast the Black Panther. I really hope they don't, because it's going to be very hard to have someone take the mantle of T'Challa away from Chadwick Boseman. Like he was literally made for this role. But the fact that they killed off both Killmonger and Claw, I honestly don't know who the villain's going to be moving forward. Namor? Nation versus Nation? I honestly have no idea. We'll have to see, but I'm curious.
To get the stones, Thanos was on a mission. He planned to kill half of all life in existence. Heroes tried to fight, but he's an unstoppable monster. To get the Soul Stone, he killed his own daughter. In Wakanda, people getting slaughtered. Vision ends up dead. Thor hits him with Stormbreaker. Should've gone for the head. He gave his fingers a snap. Half the people turned to ash. Then he portaled to a planet where he sat back and relaxed. Before the snap, Scott Lang was helping Hank by going to the quantum realm to find his wife from 30 years ago. A message suggested his wife was alive, but first Scott and Hope had to fight some bad guys. Ghost appeared, stole the shrunken lab, tried to fix her sickness, but they stole it back and got Janet out of there with the quickness. Janet gave Ghost quantum energy to stabilize, but then Thanos snapped. Scott's the only one that stayed alive. Birds was a Kree, crash landed on the planet. Nick Fury tried to help her see the past and understand it. Turns out she's from Earth and her real name is Danvers. She was fed a bunch of lies from her Kree commanders. She took out the implant that suppressed her powers. Indestructible, destroyed the fleet of Kree cowards. Now she helps the Skrulls find a place without danger, but if Nick Fury needs her, all he's gotta do is page her. About a month after Thanos did the snap, the last of the Avengers found him cooking in the shack. Sliced his hand off, but it's too late. He destroyed the stones, so Thor chopped his head off. Everybody went home. 5 years later, Scott made it out the quantum realm. He rushed to the Avengers and told them that he could offer help. Time heist. They would all just travel to the past, get the stones one by one, reverse the snap, and put them back. Nebula got caught and her double took her spot for the Soul Stone. Romanoff jumped off a rock. Everybody put their stones inside of the nano gauntlet. Thor wanted to snap, but Hulk told him, I got this. The snap brought him back. Nebula planned a coup. She used the time machine to bring out Thanos and his crew. Thor and Tony Stark was trying hard to beat the Titan. Captain Rogers grabbed the hammer and he got a couple strikes in. Thanos knocked him down to the ground and broke his shield. Doctor Strange showed up and brought the heroes to the field. Portals began to open. Thanos began to tremble. Steve stepped out and said, Avengers assemble. Battlefield is full. Thanos' army is no match. Tony grabbed the gauntlet, snapping Thanos off the map. Tony sacrificed his life. At his funeral, they wept. Captain Rogers grabbed the stones and took them back where they were kept. What's next? Peter Parker, I think that he's had enough. He wanted to go on vacation and ditch all the hero stuff. Nick Fury tracks him down, says he can't because he's needed. Peter meets Quentin Beck and just hands over Edith. Turns out Quentin Beck is really just Mysterio. He'll murder anybody with illusions and some killer drones. Parker beats him, Spider Tingle was the remedy, but then Beck told the world Spider-Man's identity. There you have it, that's what happened in the films. I hope that you could follow and didn't get overwhelmed. R.I.P. to Stan Lee, he was in every feature. Until phase 4, peace to all the true believers.
Whew. That was really good. Great way of recapping. One of the best ways of recapping everything that happened. There are some minor details that you're going to miss out, but that's pretty much the premise of every single movie. That they were able to just go through in about 10 minutes. This is going to be one of my longest videos. So if you do watch all the way to the end, I truly appreciate that. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite Avengers movie or Marvel MCU movie is. If I had to choose one from me... Oh, that's tough. I probably would have to go Captain America Winter Soldier. Is probably my favorite. But, I mean, I love most of them, if not all of them. Like I said, there's a couple that are hit or miss, but overall, I love this entire universe. I will always be a diehard Marvel fan to the day I die. I mean, I have a literal Hydra stick phone case. Like, it's literally with me wherever I go. But the one thing that they didn't mention, which I'm surprised about, and again, spoilers, is what's going on with the Kree. Because, no, not the Kree, what are the names? What are the names? Hold on. Let me, not the Kree, is it the Kree? Yeah, destroys Kree bomber. Skrulls, not Kree, Skrulls. That's the term. Skrulls. What's going on with the Skrulls? Because we saw at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, that whole movie with what's his name? Nick Fury was actually a Skrull the entire time, and he was on a Skrull spaceship. So, what's going on with the Skrulls? Are we getting a Skrull invasion, or are we not? Because this could be a way of bringing back certain characters that might have died. Not a whole lot of them, but there's a way we could bring back the characters because they could have been captured by the Skrulls and put on the Skrull ship, and then been and then their lives taken over by the Skrulls on planet Earth. So that'd be really interesting to see if we get the Skrull invasion, because we don't know what the big plan is for the next 3 phases. We have a lot of really cool movies coming out soon. With the whole COVID, it really pushed a lot of things back with filming and all that type of stuff. But Phase 4, 5, and 6 looks to be really good. I'm curious, are we going to get a Skrull invasion? Are we going to get introduced to the X-Men and Fantastic Four now that Fox is owned by Marvel? Are we going to get a Galactus big fight? Are we going to get a Beyonder Secret Wars fight? Oh my god, I would be so happy with a Beyonder Secret Wars. But we need Fantastic Four, we need X-Men, and we need Doctor Doom for that. So thank God they haven't done it yet. But I'm really hoping maybe Phase 6 will have a 2-part movie, like we did with Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, where it's literally the beginning and the end of the Secret Wars. Because that would be great. But if you all enjoyed this video, like I said, let me know what your all's favorite Avengers movie is, or just Marvel Cinematic movie in general. I apologize for the long video, but this was a long video to react to. So, and I love Marvel, so I was going to literally sit here and talk for hours on Marvel. But let me know what your all's favorite MCU movie is. Hit that like button down below for us. Subscribe if you are new, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.